America, Dr. General Mental Health for Eddie Tipswell. And at this time, we're going to call forth our National Assistant, Grand Sheik of North America, Dr. General Mental Dr. Akul Heru, Jehudi Bey, to open our meeting according to law. Islam?
Islam, Grand Man.
Islam.
Islam, Islam. Islam, Moorish America. I am Dr. Akul Heru Jehudi Bey, National Assistant Grand Sheik of Moorish America. Let me rise and give all praise to mighty God Allah and give honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Now let us come forth with our ancient committee and apt that Moorish American prayer. And as we come forth, we ask that you open up your hearts and minds as we open up the way. Ya Allah Abnu Heru Makku Nekturu. Ya Allah Heru. Ya Allah Ma'at Heru. Ya Allah Hotep Heru. Ya Allah Heru. Ya Allah Ma'at Herakuti. Ya Allah Awajad Jajuti. Ya Allah Per Im Satet Per Im Heru. Ya Allah Bamaduti. El Hezit. Shepherd Shray up to Ali. Aliyasta, Aliyasta, Aliyasta. And that's the same Moorish kin in transliteration. O Allah, the Father of the universe. O Allah, the Father of love. O Allah, the Spirit of truth. O Allah, the Spirit of peace. O Allah, the Spirit of freedom. O Allah, the Spirit of justice. O Allah, you are my protector. O Allah, you are my God. O Allah, you are my salvation by night and by day. O Allah, through your holy prophet. O Allah, through Ali. Amen. Holyissa, Holyissa, Holyissa. Islam. Now let us come forth to you with our divine constitution of Moorish America, the 7 supreme constitutional acts of law, salvation, our God, unity. Act 1. The Grand Sheik and the Chairman of Moorish America are empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the grand body of Moorish America. The Assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And it is known before the citizens of Moorish America. The bylaws. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly, according to the Circle 7, and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on Friday the first man departed out of flesh, and ascended into his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all citizens of Moorish America. No citizen is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All citizens must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all citizens must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. No organization of Moorish America is to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all citizens must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this their government, and know that they are not Negro, colored folk, black people, or Ethiopia, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now. And all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Next up, all citizens must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of Moorish America. Moorish Americans must pay their due and keep in line with all the necessities of Moorish America. And then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his father God Allah. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, peace and blessings unto him, the founding father and framer of the divine constitution and bylaws of Moorish America. And now that this meeting has been opened, according to Act 2 of the divine constitution of Moorish America, with love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, we say Islam. Islam. Islam is peace and love, family. I call back to the floor Dr. Martin Evans Bey, Consul General of Texas. Islam, God, man.
Islam, National Assistant Grand Sheikh of Moorish America, in gratitude for the opening of our meeting according to law. Islam, Islam, Islam. I am Divine Minister Dr. Marvin Edwards Bey, Consul General of the Texas Territory, rising by giving all praise to the great God Allah, the Father of the universe, and giving highest honor to his prophet, our prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I give high honors to our Moorish American government, our Act 1, and all of our officials and citizens of the Moorish American government, and everything that is Moorish. And that's everything that the prophet brought to save us as a nation of people, so that all of humanity may be saved from the wrath of Allah. I will be reading the chapter of the week, chapter 45, marriage instructions for man and wife from the noble prophet. And I will begin. This chapter is to be read secondly to the wife by an ordained divine minister of the Moorish American government during all marriage obligation ceremonies. The supreme laws of the prophet are now being enforced throughout our land. I want give ear, fair daughter of love, to the instructions of prudence, and let the precepts of truth sink deep in thy heart. So shall the charms of thy mind add luster to the elegance of thy form, and thy beauty, like the rose in resemblance, shall retain its sweetness when its bloom is withered. Ayah 2. In the spring of thy youth, in the morning of thy days, when the eyes of men gaze on thee with delight, and nature whispereth in thy ear the meaning of their lips. Ah, hear, be cautious, hear with caution their seducing words. Guard well thy heart. Now listen to their soft persuasion. Remember, thou art made man's reasonable companion, not the slave of his passion. The end of thy being is not merely to gratify his loose desire, but to assist him in the toil of life, to soothe his heart with thy tenderness and recompense his care with soft endearment. Who is she that winneth the heart of man, that subdueth him to love, that reigneth in his breast? Lo, yonder she walketh in maiden sweetness, with innocence in her mind and modesty on her cheek. Her hand seeketh employment, her foot delighteth not in gadding abroad. She is clothed with neatness, she is fed with temperance. Humility and meekness are as a crown of glory circling her head. On her tongue dwelleth music, the sweetness of honey floweth from her lips. Decency is in her words, in her answers are mildness and truth. Submission and obedience are the lessons of her life, and peace and happiness are her reward. I attend. Before her steps walketh prudence, and virtue attended at her right side. I am 11. Her eye seeketh softness and love, but discretion with a scepter fitted on her brow. I am 12. The tongue of her licentious is dumb in her presence. The awe of her virtue keepeth him silent. I am 13. When scandal is busy, and the fame of her neighbors is talked from tongue to tongue, if charity and good nature open not her mouth, the fear of silence resided on her lips. I am 14. Her best is the mention of goodness, and therefore he suspected no evil of others. I am 15. Happy was the man that should make her his wife. Happy the child that should call her mother. Okay, here we go. Ayat 17. No, so Ayat 16. He presided in a house, and there is peace. He commanded with judgment, and is obeyed. He arises in the morning. He considers her affairs and appointed. Yes. And, everybody, she presided in the house, and there is peace. He commanded with judgment and is obeyed. Ayah 17. She arises in the morning. He considers her affairs and appointed to everyone their proper business. Ayah 18. The care of her family is her whole delight. To that alone she applieth her study. And elegance with frugality is seen in her mansion. Ayah 19. The prudence of her management is an honor to her husband. He heareth her praise with a secret delight. Ayah 20. He informeth the minds of her children with wisdom. He fashioneth their manners from the examples of her own goodness. Ayah 21. The words of her mouth are the law of their youth. The motion of her eye commanded their obedience. Ayah 22. He speaketh, and the servant fly. He pointeth, and the thing is done. For the law of love is in their hearts, and her kindness addeth wings to their feet. Ayah 23. prosperity. He is not puffed up. In adversity, he heals the wounds of fortune with patience. Ayah 24. The troubles of her husband are alleviated by her counsel and sweetened by her endearments. He putteth his heart in her bosom and receiveth comfort. 25. Ayah 25. Happy is the man that has made her his wife. Happy the child that called her mother. Islam, Islam, Islam. I am Dr. Marvin Edward Bay, Consul General of the Texas Territory. Today's date is January 24th, 2026. We give honors to our National Assistant Grand Sheikh of North America, Dr. Aku Haru Yehudi Bey, for the opening of our meeting according to law, and honors to Dr. Marvin Edward Bey for the reading of the chapter of the week and for taking registration. Our host for tonight's Morse Prospectus class is our National Grand Sheikh of Morse America, Dr. Shedua Mitiel Mohed Deceptuel. Subject, Ayat 4. Who is she that winneth the heart of man, that subdueth him to love, that reigneth in his breast? And at this time, we will now call to the floor our host. Are you there, God man?
Unmuted.
Islam, can you hear me, brother?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. You have the floor. Islam.
Gratitude, Islam. Islam, 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 Moorish America. Want to rise upon the seven within the unbroken circle of justice, mercy, love, and right, and give all praises to the great God Allah, Father God Allah, and honors to his holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, Al-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. We give honors to our Grand National Seal. We give honors to our Grand National Emblem, National Flag, Divine Constitution and Bylaws, and honors to all of you who are indeed a living manifestation and personification of everything that our Holy Prophet brought to exhume us as a nation. I want to welcome you to another Moorish Prospectus. I'm your host instructor, Dr. Shahid Imani Amohadi Shabazz. And my ancient committee and high name being the same as Dr. Shedabun Mentia Moheja Shepsuel. And we again welcome you to another Moorish Prospectus, a grand drawing to be brought on the manifest, and hopefully uplift our family and bring them into a great degree of understanding when it comes into the consciousness of being who they are, because it takes a Moorish American to teach a Moorish American how to be a Moorish American. And praise be to Allah, we have been taught from a grand level of understanding. It's a grand degree to be here in this new era and time, and to also be a part and partial of the process where we are able to make progress. Man, all I can say is it is great, good, and ever more to be when it comes down to dealing with us coming into this knowledge of who we are. We have so many keys and degrees of understanding in our unfoldment. It's just powerful, family. I encourage our family to have their paper and their pen on handy, because this is going to be, as we always do, try to make these measures fulfilling when it comes to dealing with the class. But, we always want to bring something that really causes our people to think, because it was Prophet Noble Drew Ali, who stated that if he can get our people to thinking, then they will save themselves. And so we move in the light of that same paradigm, to make our people better today, than they were yesterday, and better to tomorrow, so to speak, than, they will be today. So this is a powerful, powerful demonstration, family. We are coming forth with these grand degrees of unfoldment in order to bring our people into understanding. That's the grand drawing. So our subject title, drawing from our present chapter, and also for those who would like to come on as panelists, we have the link here. If you go into the email or the inbox, so to speak. I'm trying to do this here too. I go on Facebook for the new Moors that may have they may have my Facebook, so they can actually get in this demonstration. Just give me 1 second here, and then we'll go further into the measure as it relates to our program. Okay, I'm going to, we got this brother here. I got his information. Okay. We're going to send that to him. Okay, there we go. Just remember when you come in to *6 your phone. Okay, so yeah, our subject title will be coming forth from chapter 45. Marriage instructions for man and wife from the noble prophet. If we notice, we can tell that the prophet most definitely came forward with grand degrees of unfoldment, to teach a young man how to be a young man, a woman how to be a woman, and then he brought the measures on the manifest to teach the man and the woman, how to come together in unity, and then you will see instructions on how to teach the children. So he knew exactly what he was doing when it comes to these measures as they relate to our social duties, and you will see that one thing leads to another, and he begins to teach one how to, govern themselves in the light of those social duties. And most of these social duties, for those who are familiar with the information, know, dealing with divine preparation, a lot of those instructions are the maxims of truth that actually come from Dr. Akhenaten, of ancient Kemet, Amenhotep the fourth, who became later known as Akhenaten, the founder of Islamic monotheism before Islamic monotheism became Islamic monotheism. In other words, it was a Kemetic expression, long before Prophet Muhammad came on the manifest. And this is why you will find certain elements in Islam when it comes to the terminology that is used that can be traced all the way back to ancient Kemet, with certain words that you find in the Quran. Make no mistake, Allah don't make no mistakes. So make no mistake about that when you see certain things. And you have to remember, Ishmael's mother was Egyptian. She was Kemite. So naturally, through Ishmael, there would be an inheritance, so to speak, that will come through that line, that will be reminiscent, of his mother, as well as, the teachings that will come through his father as a Cushite. Because Abraham, or Ibrahim, was indeed a Cushite. We can go back to connecting or tying him to who some people would call Phoenician, or even use the term Canaanite in reference to Abraham, and being the truth of the matter. But that's a whole nother measure. We'll get into that at another time. What we really want to touch on is what you see on the screen. Our banner is, who is she that winneth the heart of man, that subdueth him to love, and reigneth in his breast? Now, we may see this as just a statement, but these are really degrees of unfoldment. Just as we have to go through 3 steps on the master's carpet as it relates to belief, faith, and fruition, faith, hope, and love, wisdom, will, and love, all of these 3-step ladders, there's a 3-step ladder in relation to a woman, pretty much climbing up into the divinity in the heart of a God-man. That's what we can see in this particular ayat here. What do we mean? It says, well, who is she that winneth the heart of man, that subdueth him to love, and reigneth in his breast? Those are 3 degrees of unfoldment for the God woman in order to truly tap into the divinity of the God man. You see, she got to win him, she got to subdue him, and then she can reign supreme, so to speak. And again, in relation to dealing with her winning, this is within the heart of man, the nearest place that she can meet the great God. You see, love has to do with the measure of what's the essence, and this is within his breast. So we know that love, or that love thought made manifest in the man, is only going to be expressed when he knows himself, when he knows the God that is within him. That is the love within his breast. His breast is the same place as it relates to dealing with, his heart. We can even say the heart of a master of all nature, M-A-N. A master able noble, as our brother C, what his name was, Freeman L would say. In other words, or we say heart of a Moorish American national. You see, can she win the heart of that Moorish American national? Let us go into the definition of these words on a basic level. I'm going to share my screen real quick, because we're going to go a little deeper into these measures as we give our exegesis. So first and foremost, and we already got this up here, we see 2 definitions here. In one aspect, the first and foremost definition, it has to do with, a contest or a conflict. We often hear about a conflict that can't be told in words when it comes to man in his own unfoldment. So that man has to resolve the conflict within himself in order to become the love that is necessary in order for him to be able to share his heart chakra, or that particular space, with, his companion, his twin flame. We already talk about the work that one has to do in relation to dealing with themselves. But, in other words, one has to be one who triumphs and prevails over their lower self, or else they will be in competition and conflict with the one that has come, for union. And anytime you competing with someone that came to demonstrate unity, this actually we can say it leads to a measure, or actually comes or derived from a measure, let's say that has to do with misunderstanding. Why would you be in competition with somebody that came to unite with you? That's a most definitely an oxymoronic state of mind. Now, the second one has to do with acquire or secure as a result of contest, conflict, bet, or other endeavor. In essence, it means to secure, to gain, to achieve, attain, earn, or obtain. That sounds like the measures in regards to dealing with the hand. When we say the hand is symbolic to the mind. You see, due to its ability to shape, mold, obtain, retain, so forth and so on. But secure is a powerful measure. This refers to the work that the goddess has to put in regards to dealing with the heart of man. When we say, who is she that winneth? See, the heart of man. In other words, his attention. Who is that goddess that can win the attention of this man, the support of this man? Because you got some other people that's trying to put their application in too, other women. You see? That's where, the competition is, even though we are not looking at games of competition in the aspect of somebody trying to win a trophy. Also she's trying to win his support. And again, his love. And it says typically, gradually, or by effort. So it takes some time, when it comes to this special aspect. So who is she that winneth the heart of man? So also, when it says subdue him, to love, so to speak. I'm trying to see right here. There you go. Yeah, to subdue, by definition, the first is to overcome, quieten, or bring under control. Now, this is not the controlling degree where somebody is narcissistic. It says also a feeling or person. So this is one that is subduing, a feeling, or person. In other words, the feelings of the person. But this person has to first utilize their compass to draw a circle around their passions and desires and keep them within the bounds of righteousness. That's control. A God woman can become the compass, of God man. When he is the square, when his conduct is in order and so forth and so on. This actually refers to a form of protection. You see? And when you have, both the compasses points upon, the square, as you would see it mostly in most bringing those things together, and this transcends masonry. It goes more into what we call the science of the ancient builders. And we understand that, again, the compass in the square really symbolically represents, the God man and God woman. You see? These are tools that we use in the workshop of the mind, where thought is used to build character. So just as the woman has to become, a spiritual compass, and the God man has to become a spiritual square, in order to work upon each other, therefore one is building each other or the character of each other based upon these special tools. This is a powerful demonstration. So, another drawing they have to do with bring a country or people under control by force. In other words, if we look at men and women as guides of their families, which are extensions of their nation, then these men and women are able to subdue, and conquer the hearts and minds of their people with that same love that they utilize between each other. There's a measure in the teachings of al-Islam where it is stated leadership is won in the hearts of the people. The God man and God woman who utilize their tools well, square and compass, they are able to bring their people under control. And when we speak of, like here they say control of force, we're not speaking of putting a scimitar on somebody. Maybe the scimitar of consciousness, but not a physical scimitar to force someone into something. The force that we refer to relates to power, a power that exerts itself for the individual at the will of the user. So that means the brother and the sister has to exert, within themselves that power, which is a saving power. And it is the force of this saving power as it relates to Allah by which they are able to govern, where leadership is won within the hearts of the men and women. They're able to subdue their country and their people by means of love and divinity. The ministry as it relates to love divine. Love divine is the very instruction in essence to be demonstrated when it comes to dealing with any special marital union. If love divine is not the essence of the relationship or the companionship, then they are burnt up from the start. You see? Let's go a little further into our next definition, which, it speaks of reigneth, in the breast of man, so to speak. And this goes back to, the previous definition, because to reign in most cases has to do with hold a royal office or rule as a king or queen. Just like, she has to reign within his breast, man also has to gain rulership, within the same place. And we talked about this before. This is all dealing with the nearest place that you can meet the great God Allah, to become in Kemet what we call, Heru Ami Abu, the dweller of hearts. You see? So again, in reign we find ruling, we find regneth, we find hold, sway, rule, govern on the throne. In fact, the name All-Set Kemetically means throne. So in order for man to truly rule upon the throne, he has to have, access through to the heart of the God woman. So it goes both ways. The royal office, of, the goddess is within the heart of man. And the royal office within the God man is in the heart of the woman. In order for them to rule as king or queen. This is what we're getting at according to the definitions that we have. So this brings us to a grand degree of unfoldment as it relates to marriage instructions for both the man and the woman. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, didn't leave a stone unturned when it comes to these measures that deal with our social duties as they relate to us being families and nations. Remember, like I said, these chapters are a result of the work of the maximums, of a Kemetic thought. We have to remember that our whole Moorish Holy Quran is a Kemetic document. The 18 missing years, Yehoshua was going into Kemet for, over 18 years, him and his cousin John, and their mothers and fathers being taught at the feet of Matheno. You see? And then You also see these social duties, these chapters as they relate again from Act and Acting, and then we go into the adept degrees. You know, all of these things are Kemetic, so that makes the Circle 7 a Kemetic text. So these are laws and rules, or precepts, so to speak, that have existed, you know, for a long time. They can all be traced back to the source. And when there's a rulership as it relates to man and woman, you will see in ancient Kemet where they actually have a depiction where the man and woman wear similar headpieces. You see, their crowns are similar. We know that Ma'at represents what we call in our Moorish Holy Quran the mother of virtues, who brings forth the harmonies of life that breed justice, mercy, love, and right. We know that the father is the husbandman that casts his seed into the soil of the soul that it may grow apace. So the seed that he casts within the soil of the woman goes beyond the physical aspect of conception. It ain't strange though, chapter 45, 4 and 5 equal 9 and 9 equals re-entry. But we're talking about man planting his seed of consciousness into the soil of the soul. You know, if the higher self is the mother of virtues, you know, dealing with justice, mercy, love, and right, then it's the same when it comes to man being spirit clothed with soul, made in the form of Allah, being the higher self. And that is what we refer to as Ish and Isha. But also we know Ish and Isha is also Alsar and Alset when understood in its proper context. So we call this co-regency, where the woman has just as much power as the man. So this is not a male dominant expression anytime you're dealing with the concept of a relation between man and woman, because we had sisters who ruled as pharaohs just like brothers, and the laws that govern them and the laws through which they govern the nation were the same. Our goddesses have to become warriors for their men, especially over here in the West, where a brother is constantly under attack, you know, through systemic oppression. We got it coming from all ways, whether it's coming from Rome or us oppressing each other as brothers, you know, trying to take each other off the count and so forth and so on. But the system itself has been set up in such a way to where when it comes to our brothers, the deck is always stacked against him. And if he doesn't have a warrior goddess that can stand with him through this, if she doesn't have the patience, if she doesn't have the foresight, if she doesn't have the wherewithal when it comes to standing with him, then that union will always be subject to being broken. So yes, our sisters have to be warrior goddesses, to be willing to stand next to her God man and with him on the front line in a system that was designed to tear them apart, a system that was designed to tear them away from the great God Allah, tear them away from each other, tear them away from their children. Both of them have to be strong. This is the only way that we can truly learn how to govern ourselves and govern, you know, our nation, our capital empire and dominion. I want to make it plain. That's why I'm taking my time. So it takes a real God woman to hold sway in the heart of a real God man. A woman with an MBC thought pattern will never gain access to a true God man, because he's not controlled by his lower self, his lower passions. You can't get him like that. You know, you have to definitely be a goddess that was cut from the cloth, and one who knows how to demonstrate the weaving of a celestial God. This is a powerful demonstration when we think of it. So, brothers and sisters, again, you know, when you reign supreme within the hearts of each other, you are holding a royal office as king and queen. Symbolically, you know, we hear that word sultan all the time. Sultan means ruler. That's actually the word that the Muslim world used before they adopted the word king and queen. You know, and this actually goes back to Allah in the Grand Quran. He's called Sultana or Sultan. You know, he's called, Allah himself is called Sultana, the powerful, the ruler. So again, this goes back to the goddess seeing the Allah in man and the man seeing the Allah in the goddess. The heart is the sultanate, symbolically. What's the name of our ruler in the east? Oh man, Allah, Ali, and we. You know, we know the east is within from an esoteric or symbolic standpoint. Come on now. What is the heart referred to? In the Arabic, it's called the qalb or the qulub. You hear this being spoken of a lot by the Tasawwufi and, you know, sheikhs in Sufism, in other words. You know, qulub or qalb actually represents not only a cube in certain aspects, the square, you know, but it also represents, you know, what we call a direction in which man is to face, the Qibla. So in other words, in the world of Islam, they talk about the Qibla, the Kaaba, which is a cube. And we see the Moors facing that direction in prayer. But when we go into the essence of self and we deal with the Qad-Nabar as it relates to spirit and soul, you know, within one, this has to do with the consciousness within one and also their soul actions of thinking, willing, reason, understanding, and remembrance. So when you find the God woman, you know, facing the direction, going in the direction, you know, of the Qibla, which is within her God man, his heart is covered in the black and gold kiswa. That's the cloth that covers the Kaaba. You see? In other words, out of all that darkness, light manifests, and that's the symbolic measures dealing with, you know, the black and the gold. This is alchemical expression as it relates to colors. Even the stone that is referred to within that particular structure was said to be a white stone before it became what they like to call now a black stone. And the stone became black as a result of the hands of men and women who touched this special demonstration. This is the title, you know, this is what they give you. All this is really dealing with divine alchemy. You see, white mean purity, purity mean God, God mean the ruler of the land. Black, in essence, according to science, mean death, because this is dealing with a spiritual state of a spiritual death. So what type of stone is in the Kaaba within the hearts of the brothers and sisters? Is it a white stone or is it a black stone as a result, you know, of the various different conditions that one has come through? And if it did go into being black, then it got to be polished and made white again. This ain't got nothing to do with no European neither. See, we like to give our people the truth, but also give them the symbolism and the esoteric things that are hiding behind what most see with the naked eye. But yeah, this is a powerful demonstration. The Qibla is within one. So when they face the Qibla within each other, it don't matter what point of the compass they are at when it comes to dealing with location. But when they face the Qibla within each other and they make prostration toward each other as angels, because the angels was told to prostrate, before the essence of man, before man became manifest. Iblis didn't want to do that. So if the Iblis in man don't want to submit to the love within the heart of the woman, or the Iblis within the woman don't want to submit, and be subdued by the heart of that which is in man, then again, therein lies a conflict. Let me go further. I got some more things I want to cover, because I got actually some more definitions up here that was given. And this is coming from the Holy Quran exegesis, just touching on a few measures dealing with the heart. And Surah As-Suratu 2, Barakah, Ayat 248, the word tabut is used. And this refers to the heart that is the storehouse of knowledge, wisdom, and peace. So now this is what a woman has to subdue when it relates to dealing with the heart of man, a heart of man, the storehouse of his knowledge, wisdom, and peace. If you can win that, then you become knowledgeable, sisters. If you can win that, then you can hear his wisdom speaking from the highest plane of spirit life. And if you can obtain both of those things, then you can obtain peace. It says on at least 5 occasions in the Holy Quran, the sin of tranquility is mentioned. This is tranquility. You know what it means to be tranquil? Content and peace. It's mentioned, and in each case, the recipient is the heart. And would mean that there would be descent of tranquility from Allah during the reign of Talut. Powerful. Powerful. Let's move a little bit more. There's another drawing here. Listen to what it says here. And this is actually dealing with, the prayer. Any particular prayer to great God Allah. But this deals with one what grounds one in knowledge, and it deals with right here, like they had a prayer dealing with our Father who art in heaven, and so forth and so on in the Hebrew scriptures. We deal with our Fatiha and so forth and so on. But prayer of those who are firmly grounded in knowledge. A God man and God woman, let's think of it that way. The more they know, the more they realize how little they know of all profound truth of the spiritual world. This is why I always say to know is to know you don't know. So when we have a union based upon that, then when things begin to unfold, one is not taken off by various different conditions, a conflict that can't be told in words, so to speak. They have the faith that bring them together in unity, and that unity will keep them strong, and they will become conquerors together. But it says they also realize that there is no bigger loss than going astray after having found the right path. So when you find that God man, sisters, or that God woman, brothers, and you go astray, you know, there is no bigger loss in this, you see, than going astray after having found the right path. The prayer is as fitting sequel to the preceding verse. It draws attention to the purification of the heart, an intensive prayer that eliminates the error of interpreting any seemingly ambiguous Quranic statement in the manner that is at variance with the nucleus and foundation of the book. With no ambiguity left, it is clear in the meaning and decisive in exposition. Purification of the heart is therefore necessary to understand the underlying meanings. The Holy Quran says that only those who by leading righteous lives achieve purity of heart and are granted true understanding and insight into the real meanings of the Holy Quran. That's a powerful demonstration. This is why the Prophet Noble Drew Ali told us in our 7 acts that man must purify his heart and mind with love. So when you purify your heart and mind with love, brothers and sisters, you know, now you can come together in true love. You don't fall in love. Again, you rise in that love. You see? Let's go further into some more definitions here. It talks here about in Surah 3, Ayat 17, Ashar. The word Ashar is mentioned and is the plural of Sahar, which means the latter part of the night. And we know that the latest part, the later part of the night, you know, this is when the dark is at its darkness before dawn. In order to be raised to a level of what is called muttaqeen, you see, it states, and you hear Sirat al-Mustaqeen, this is muttaqeen. One must employ divine protection in prayers and worship in late hours of the night. Ashar also means the cores of the heart, the heart's core, the inner part of the hearts, or simply hearts. Notice it's used in plural. In the darkest point of the night, a God man and God woman laying next to each other, you know, they should have the meditation of their hearts and minds in line with each other and divinity. It says the verse thus has a second meaning, those who implore divine protection. This is where your divine protection come from, in the cores of their hearts, sabrin. You know, and this actually deals with patience too. You know, it says it's the plural form of sabir, derived from sabara, and it means those who endure patiently. Want to give honors to the tribe of endurance, the God women, the two that held. You see, I like to call them cherubim and seraphim, being one with the spirit of the Almighty God of Allah, you know, in the essence of our Grand National Chairman. This is the example that we have for us in our nation, that we can be the same way. Endurance is key. You know that Bactrian camel represents a symbol of endurance, well saddled and equipped for the journey along the way. So those who endure patiently, who steadily adhere to the commands of God, they don't waver now. Sirat al-Mustaqim, the straight way of those who has bestowed thy grace, those whose portion not wrath and those who go not astray, who restrain from what reason and law forbids. See, when you truly love your companion to the core, you will restrain from what reason and law forbids. You won't go outside of that hedge of protection, testing the waters and invoking the wrath of the great God as a result of our disobedience. Or who restrain from manifesting or expressing grief other than before God. However, this does not imply that adhering to Allah's commandments requires a superhuman act. See, there are no superhuman acts by which man will be redeemed. See, that's what I'm talking about. You see how this exegesis line up with our Moorish Holy Quran? As Allah charges no soul beyond its capacities. He don't place any burden upon us which is unbearable, that we cannot bear. You see? You know, so there are a lot of measures up here, you know, that are spoken of. I want to touch on this drawing that deals with the word ruh. Because when we say ruh, ruh means spirit, but there's a measure in the Grand Quran as it relates to ruh Allah, the spirit of Allah that he breathed in the man. That's what he was telling the angels to prostrate before, not the physical flesh of the man. And that's what Iblis became disobedient. So when you can't see the spirit of the great God Allah within your brother and sister, this automatically set one up for that Iblis-like mindset. So one is not willing to submit to somebody if they see you as a so-called NBC, Negro, so-called black man, so-called colored man, or the NIGGA. If one is looking at you like that, you know, then of course they ain't gonna submit to you, you. In fact, most will be trying to strip one of their raiment, garb of divinity in order to justify the way they feel. Because when you know a God man as a God man, you can't go up against that. Not if you got any divinity in you. If you know a God woman as a God woman, brothers, you can't go up against that. So there has to be an assassination of the character first. And these are tactics that our people learn from the West. And they begin to tear each other down so that they are lower than a whale's turd. And then when you get them there, then you don't care how you treat them. You don't care how you treat each other. You see? Because you have stripped one of the raiment of divinity in your own mind, even though they may be that. And we got people out here now that like to say, I'm him. Well, it don't matter who you are if you ain't your divine God self. The only way you can really brag and boast of any attainment, and we really don't do that, is when you can say I'm him because I'm one with the great God Allah. That's when you're really him, brothers. That's when you're really her, sister. When you have a oneness with God. It's not a flex, as they would call it, to be, something that is of no worth. What you boasting about that for? So the word ruh is derived from the word raha. Those who have seen me demonstrate it, I spoke on this before, which has a significance of the respite from grief and sadness. So no form of grief and sadness can overcome ruh. Ruh is a breath of life. We hear about the holy breath. This is the same life that was breathed again in the man. Ruh represents soul, spirit. You see how it's mentioned in ruh as a representation of soul and spirit? Because at this stage, soul and spirit become one. There's a matrimonial hajj or union between the soul and spirit. But this is when the spirit is moving at light speed. We know that physical light deal with 186,000 miles per second when it travels. But when it come down to dealing with divinity, you can't put a cap on that light. And it is so powerful that when man ascends, then the soul actions, follow as it relates to, let's just say the thrusting forward. It automatically takes, the actions of the soul with it, thinking, willing, reason, understanding, remembrance. This word ruh also means inspiration, essence, joy, life-giving words of Allah, or a prophet's divine message. See all of that. This is what you honor within your mate. You honor that divine inspiration. You honor the essence. You honor the joy, the life-giving words of Allah that come through your brothers or sisters, brothers and sisters, or a prophet's divine message, brothers and sisters. It states the word ruh is used often in the Holy Quran in the sense of divine revelation, as it gives life to hearts that were dead in ignorance. So it is the spirit in man, the spirit which is a part of Allah, that truly gives life to the hearts, we can say minds or consciousness, of those among our people who were dead in that black state of mind, in their ignorance. Powerful. Look, it says in the chapter Yusuf or Joseph, Surah 12 or Surah 12 and 87, we read, the father of Joseph say, go, my sons, and make a thorough search of Joseph and his brother. You know, after they had basically tossed him in the well, right? And said he was devoured by a wolf or something, right? It says, do not despair of Allah's soothing mercy. Ru'Allah. See it? Huh? His soothing mercy is Ru'Allah. His mercy has been placed within us. Really, none but the people who deny the truth can ever lose hope of Allah's soothing mercy. Pay attention to that, brothers and sisters. None but the people who deny the truth. They're already in denial of the truth. They can't tap into the divinity, no matter how much you try to invite them, no matter how much you try to call them to the success. They just can't get it right. So none but the people who deny the truth can ever lose hope in Allah's soothing mercy. Ru'Allah. Similarly, we read in the chapter Al-Mujadila, Surah 58, Ayat 22, it is they, the true believers, in whose heart Allah has inscribed true faith and has strengthened them with his own revelation, Ruh. So Allah is the one that did this, or that can do this, strengthen you with his own revelation. Whomsoever Allah guides, none can misguide. Whomsoever Allah allows to go upon the path of misguidance, none can guide. It says that in the chapter Al-Nahl, Surah 16, Ayat 2, it is written, he sends down the angels with revelation, ruled by his command, to such of his servants as he will. That's what we mean when we say an angel is a thought of Allah made manifest in human flesh. These are not spooks or spirits that cannot be seen as a relate of being unmanifest. When he sent down the angels with revelation, this represent the thoughts that penetrate your consciousness. And these divine thoughts that come from the great God Allah does not obey him. An angel knows nothing but to hear and obey. They don't know how to rebel against Allah. Their will is not strong enough. And that's what makes them the true strength of Allah made manifest. And this is the same thing as it relates to dealing with the union between a brother and a sister. When you are truly one in, what we call our matrimonial Hajj, you are not strong enough to rebel against the divinity within one, to rebel against God, that is the true dweller of your hearts, the nearest place that you can meet each other and him. It says, thus in the verse on the discussion, the word ruh means divine mercy. So brothers and sisters, we must be a divine mercy to each other. Divine revelation comes as a result of that with glad tidings. Surah 58, Ayat 22, which was quoted earlier, that was given to Mary, a child that was given to her. That was a divine revelation, more than just saying, okay, Yehoshua came from a virgin birth. And this is why we talk about that virgin-like mindset within our sisters, a mind that has not been tampered with, mixed, diluted, that's easy to penetrate when it comes to being the soil of soul to cast the consciousness of divinity into. Have to have that virgin-like mind. The verses referred to the above tells us that the true believers are eligible to be strengthened by divine spirit and by divine revelation, ruh. The words kalimatun, and ruh are not attributes of Jesus, but they are used to raise the dignity of Mary. She receives a promise of divine revelation about the birth of a son who was to be a source of mercy and blessing. For the people, the word al-ruh, used in the verse 78 and 38, stands for al-ruh al-qudus, which is what we call the Holy Spirit, which cannot be applied here. So this is a powerful demonstration, family, just dealing with the word as it relates to dealing with hearts and so forth and so on. So to truly go into, this is special drawing, this is powerful. There's a measure here where it was talking about how Allah sent prophets to people who are in moral and spiritual poverty. And we know that we were most definitely in moral and spiritual poverty before Prophet Noble Drew Ali came to us. Afflicted with adversaries, calamities, destruction. These are the people who receive prophets. They receive the message of prophecy. So the great God Allah will send a God man to a God woman, to demonstrate uplifting her from her spiritual and moral poverty. Where she may have been afflicted, having many adversaries and came through many calamities, and it's vice versa. He sends, a God woman to a man that has been in spiritual poverty and afflicted with many adversaries and calamities and destruction. This is how they come forth and they be healers of each other. The purpose of sending prophets is to give a people a chance to become humble. The prophets come to warn those who are unwilling to amend their behavior, and they come as bearers of good tidings for those who believe and change their sinful ways. The good tidings they receive are that they will have no cause of fear, nor shall they grieve. Amanna, it means to trust. Let's go back to that word amen, aman. To be secure, be in safety, confide in. See, this is security. Iman. So when a brother or sister bring the teachings of the prophet toward each other, this is where their security come from. This is where one puts security on what they love. Iman is derived from the word amana. For those who don't know, Iman means faith or belief. When the word Islam or submission is used along with the word Iman, then Iman signifies the sincerity and firmness and faith in one's heart. We say sincerity is the first degree. Right? When it comes to the 7-step ladder. While Islam without Iman expresses only outward submission and practical obedience. So one actually has to come from Islam into Iman, and from Iman into Ihsan. These are 3 degrees, as it relates to one's unfoldment. For a true believer, Iman comes first and then Islam. See what I'm saying? For those who are weak in faith, Islam takes precedence over Iman. So that's a powerful demonstration, family. So this is what we are trying to tap into. This is what one is trying to win. They were speaking here in relation to the word mafati, which is connected to the word fatah, which means to open. This is Fatiha. And this says it can be translated as keys. We were told by our holy prophet that he was giving us the keys of civilization. Those keys have to do with, the marriage laws, and divine contract as it relates to a matrimonial hajj between a God man and God woman as well. It may refer to the preparedness of heart and the openness for divine knowledge. In this sense, preparedness is not earned, but it's a divine gift. So, man, we can go on and on in here in relation to dealing with aspects of the heart, that we never really tap into. You see? So, here's another measure too. In relation to Surah 7, Al-Araf, the heights, Surah Al-Araf. Ayat 88, the statement, even though we are unwilling. This shows that belief cannot be forced, but must be from the heart. So our belief in each other, brothers and sisters, this ain't something that's, it can't be forced on us. It has to be something that is natural. You see? It speaks here in Surato, same surah, Al-Araf, Ayat 100. The verse informs us of disbelievers, and how their hearts are sealed. They are sealed only when they refuse to make use of their God-given faculties of reason and understanding. So when the heart is sealed, how then can one use the key in order to make entry? Brothers and sisters, if your heart is full of disbelief, how is it that one can use any key? Because, the lock is sealed. And this has to do with one refusal, to utilize the giving God faculties on reason and understanding. That's why we hear the statement in the Piscean records, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. But there's plenty of knowledge out there, so we know it's really the lack of the truth. But the reason one lack knowledge is say, since you have rejected knowledge, then I will reject you and your seed after you. What do you think that your seed, your generations, the children that you bring on to manifest, what do you think will happen as a result of that? When you refuse, then they are going to fall victim to that, and then you will refer to that as a generational curse. Just can't get it right, huh? When all it has to do with is one's disobedience to the higher self and the higher dictates of life. And this is what's bringing one, divine karmatic wrath in surplus. You see? So, man, it goes on. It's a whole bunch of measures that we can go into here dealing with hearts. I want to go into this portion in the dictionary of the Quran, which is pretty much from, the source. It was the God man and God women who prepared, a husband and wife that prepared these documents that we're dealing with. It has the word hajara here. And this word hajara, if you ever heard them use the word hajar as it relates to Hagar, Hijr, so forth and so on, this is the connection to that. To deprive from, harden, hide, resist, forbid, prevent, hinder, prohibit access to a place. Hijrun, anything forbidden, unlawful, a wall, a dam, or intelligence. Now you heard us talking about that seal. Understanding, hajur, bosoms. We know this dealing with the breast. Guardianship, care, country inhabited by the tribe of Thamud of North Arabia, Hajar, Ahjar, Hijar, the stone. The stone is called Hajar because of its resistance and pressure, owing its hardness. Rock, big mass of stone, metal, very sagacious, hard of the heart, and crafty, political person. The word may also be used for idols. Remember, we was talking about the black stone and the white stone. Hijurat also means chamber, house, enclosure, cell, side, region, private chamber. So this is referring to the heart as a chamber, a house, enclosure, cell. That we get at mahjur, strong barrier, forbidden. In other words, insurmountable, impregnable. You can't just go up in that demonstration. On a bridge, barrier, strong barrier, forbidden. Dam, who is put behind a barrier. An Arab would use the words when he is faced with a thing he does not like, meaning let it remain away from me so that I should not suffer from it. prohibited one, barrier. You know, that's the thing too. We can say that when it comes to each other. Let that brother, you know, remain away from me. A sister can say that. You know, brother say, let that woman remain away from me. You know, so that I should not suffer from it. You got to be like Yehoshua and know how you got to keep it moving. You got to be about your father's work. So one has to establish a barrier to that extent, but not a barrier to the extent to where you seal that demonstration up, you know, and one can't get in there. So yeah, this is stone, metal. Yeah, and they use that terminology quite a few times throughout the Grand Quran in different areas, you know. They got drawings here dealing with hirija, which means to be contracted, the heart. We know when the heart contracts in the physical, it's pumping blood. So when the heart expands as it relates to divinity, then this is consciousness, to contract and expand. You know, but what happens when the heart becomes oppressed? When the pathway of the heart into or through the heart becomes narrow, disquieted in reason. You know, on the physical, this type of thing bring on heart attacks. You know, if you deal with the vessels, the physical aspect, it says he doubted because doubt disquiets the mind. He came into difficulty owning to the commission of sin or crime for which he had deserved punishment. Goodness gracious. So we can see, you know, where restriction and narrowness leads to. Goodness gracious. You know, Hafiza. Now we know Hafiz is one who memorizes the Quran and learn it by heart. You know, we call this Act 4, you know, in our 7 acts, you know, where one preserves the law as it relates to the teachings of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. You know, to become Hafiza means to guard, to protect, to take care of, to watch, put in store, preserve, learn by heart. We have to do that when it comes to protecting each other and protecting our spouses, our companions. We got to learn to guard, protect, and take care of each other. You got to watch and put in store. Remember, we were talking about that storehouse earlier. Preserve, the master word. Learn by heart. See, he protected, watched. We have guarded. They may guard. All these different words, you know, being utilized. They were made protectors, were entrusted. Protection, guard, hafizu. You protect, God, guardian, protectors and guardians. Protectors, God, guardians, protector. That is given protection, protected one. See, we protect each other. Our love, in all actuality, is protection. That's why we say we put protection, you know, on that in which we love. So, you know, we can go, you know, into a whole bunch of different definitions as it relates to the heart. You know, here it's actually using the word katima. And this word katima means to seal or put a signet upon, stamp, imprint in, or complete a thing. This is why they talk about katam and nabihim, but this is katama ala kalubihi. This, to seal the heart, to harden it, you know, to finish. In other words, you ain't gonna let nothing else come into that special demonstration. Now, a lot of them like to use this and say, well, Prophet Muhammad was the seal of the prophet. No, he was the one who became the seal of those who came through the Arabs. You know, this represented his stamp, Allah's stamp and imprint. It didn't mean you were going to stop Allah from thinking and other people wouldn't receive divine revelations and revelators as well. It doesn't mean can't nobody else come up there with no knowledge. And this is the same thing with us. If we deal with the measure of katama Allah kalabihi, as it relates to the God man and God woman, if there's a seal on your heart, then nobody can't come up in there as a thief and steal your love, brothers and sisters, knowing it don't belong to them In fact, a scimitar is on the manifest, just like in the Garden of Eden, where cherubim is standing there ready to behead him with consciousness if they so try to come up in that demonstration. So yeah. This is some powerful demonstration, family. This right here is powerful. Hala. To pierce, slit, or make a hole through. Be very particular. In need of help and support. Kalato. To make friendship with. Kulatun. Fast friendship. That friendship or love which penetrates the heart and takes root in it. One whose friendship and love is very deep and sincere. A most loving and bosom friend. This is what a God man and God woman should be with each other. But they have to be wali with the law. Friends with each other. See, they talk about an epithet that was given to Abraham. The friend of God, to be friendly. Friendship, it also, has to do with, in the sense it means middle or inner parts. Special and dearest. So this is one that has become a friend to the inner self when it comes to dealing with the brothers and the sisters. You see, they talk about that al-sajra, which deals with the hidden or concealed points or the secrets of the heart. Ones are able to keep, the secrets of each other and not use them and weaponize them against each other. You see, they went into that definition of rule here, as we was talking about earlier. They was talking about, since it gives life to the hearts that were dead in their ignorance, and has in the spiritual world, the same function as a soul has in the physical world. Rule, breath of life, soul, spirit, inspiration, revelation, essence, Quran, joy, happiness. It's going into the same measure, dealing with, its life-giving qualities, angels, archangels. Thought of Allah made manifest in human flesh, family. Who can deny that? We went over the surah, dealing with the core of the heart, in our exegesis. So we can really go on and on, family. But I encourage our family to do their own research. It talks here in Shagahafa, to affect deeply, affect in the heart's core, inspire with violent love. He has so affected her that the love entered beneath what they call a pericardium, to feel a passionate love for her. Bottom of the pericardium, passionate love, penetrated deep. See, that's what, this sister has to do in order to win this heart of his brother. She got to penetrate deep. This ain't got nothing to do with the blood pumping organ, but has everything to do with one's consciousness. Here's another drawing. Sadara. To return from, come back, proceed, go forward, come to, pass, happen, emanate from, strike on the chest, commence, bosom. See, you got to go be able to enter into the heart and return, bringing that love that you receive from the heart of that man. Sister, after you obtain it, you can go deep and penetrate, bring the love to the world. His love should be so strong to where you want to show the world the love that is within him, and vice versa. The brother has to penetrate the heart of a sister in the same way and bring forth the pearls and jewels of her love and show them before the world. Bosom, chest, breast, upper part, higher point, mind. See, this is talking about that consciousness, that prominent place. To bring back and drive away and take away. This is why spirit man was given a soul to function upon the plane of soul. And a body of flesh to function upon the plane of things made manifest. But what happened when this soul is in reference to the goddess? He was given a soul to function upon the plane of her soul. You know, a body of flesh to function upon the plane of things made manifest in order to bring forth new life. But in all actuality, functioning upon the plane of soul in the highest state of divinity, you know, what lesson did you receive from your queen? What lesson did you receive from your king, sisters? Because it go both ways. Angels ascend the ladder and descend. Surah 70 in the Grand Quran. We can't make this stuff up, family. You see? Now, we got to draw in here, you know, dealing with a measure of a hardened-hearted ruffian. And we know what they did to Heru Ami Abu, code name Hiram Abiff, the African God man. We know what the ruffian did. That NBC mindset, them three, Jubilo, Jubellum, Jubilon. You know, this is that I'm a drag and push violently, draw along, push and pull demonstration, carry one away forcefully. You know, to be quick to do evil, prone to evil, quick to do evil, wicked, rough, glutton, again, rude, hard, hardened, ruffian, cruel and greedy, violent, ignoble, ill-mannered, they rebelled. You're running into that Atawa that's mentioned there. Goodness gracious. You know, so, man, this is powerful. We can go through here and find many different definitions as it relates to dealing with the heart and different states of consciousness of the heart. Look at here, fa'ada, to hurt the heart, be affected with heart disease. A lot of people think that's just heart disease in the physical heart, but there's a heart disease that is manifested in the spiritual heart. That's what these teachings come to purify the heart from. To be struck in the heart, which is the mind or the soul. Look at this, family. All of these things that are being given here, most of this stuff is talking about what's going on within the people. Look at here. For Schiller to become weak-hearted, coward, flag, grow spiritless, or languid, loose heart, remiss. Come on, man. It don't get no plainer than the truth. You see? Fazah, to be rough, rude, hard, harsh, unmanly, severe. You know, so, and this is what I was talking about earlier when I spoke of Kalud. You know, to turn or return a thing, direction, to face a thing. When you face the Qibla within each other, you know, then you honoring the true Qad Nabah. You know, so I'm going to stop right there because I can keep going on. You really already got it. You see? You already got it, family. So, sister, you win what your hearts have gained and what your hearts have ascended to, and it's the same with our brothers. You know, you earn this after, you know, a lot of striving. So what we're going to do at this time, we're going to open up the floor to our family so that we can hear from them. You know, and we're going to start by calling on our beloved sister, Dendra Nia Kurtabay, our National Assistant Grand Secretary of the State. Islam, you there, goddess? Islam. Well, yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Islam, family. I am the National Assistant Grand Secretary of State. First, let me rise and give praises. Great God Allah, I give honors to our Holy Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I give honors to Act One. I give honors to all my government officials. And I give honors to you, National Grand Sheikh. Ooh, for this powerful, powerful class. I tell you, I was sitting here trying to take notes and trying to keep up. Definitely got to go back and listen to the playback. And we're in our new chapter, chapter 45, marriage instructions for man and wife from the noble prophet. This chapter is to be read secondly to the wife by an ordained divine minister of the Moorish American government during all marriage obligation ceremonies. And then the supreme laws of the prophet are now being enforced throughout our land. And you came from Ayat 4. I tell you, this was a powerful, powerful class. And Ayat 4, who is she that warmeth the heart of man, that subdueth him to love, and reign in his breast? I tell you, God, man, you covered so many things. And like you say, we could go on and on and on and dealing with this. But the different things that really stood out to me is when you was giving us, and gratitude for giving us all those definitions coming from the dictionary that you was giving us that information out of. And really, God, man, what I'm picking up as you go through this and give us those, especially when you was giving us those definitions and things like that, that just let me know, and what it shows me is you're building character in both of us, in the God-man and the God. That's character building. Anything that you talked about, like you said, we're dealing with the physical, but it's really referring to what's going on the inside of us. And like I said, when you was given the meaning of the word reign, and how you talked about how that means to rule, that meant a ruler. And the whole time you was going through this class, I tell you, it made me just think about you can't help but to look around yourself and see the condition of our people, to see the condition, the mindset of our goddesses, and the work that we as Moorish American nationals, the work that we got to do, because see, we are the light that they are looking for. We are the one that's got to teach them about what the prophet has brought us. See, our prophet brought us everything. I mean, when he said he brought us everything, he brought us everything, from raising our children down to how to be a wife to the husband. I mean, we don't have no excuses, God, man. And I tell you, I'm so excited, and to be in this government, to get these teachings, because our people didn't have these teachings, and I'm a living witness. I know we didn't have this when me and my husband come together. When we was girlfriend and boyfriend. Nobody told us this. I didn't know nothing about this. He didn't. Boyfriend at the time, and then he was my husband. We didn't know nothing about these teachings, but we do now. We do now, and that's why it's so important that we take, that we be the message that we bring, and that we bring these teachings, to our Moorish kin, especially if they're willing to listen. And we are gods and goddesses. Our lives go in, and our prophet will show us how to minister to our family out there who haven't had these teachings, because, like we always say, it takes a more. It takes a more to teach a more how to be a more. So it takes us Moorish goddesses, we who got the prophet's teachings, who have been ordained. He has ordained us. We are divine ministers. We are the one to take this out there to them. Can't nobody do it but us, because it's been given to us. And we got work to do, family. And I tell you, I praise the great God Allah that He saw fit to let me be a part of His divine movement. and to be a part of his, to get this message out there to our people. And let me see, when you talked about reigning supreme in the God man's heart, you talked about how that meant holding a royal office. Oh God, man, I never thought about it like that. When you reigning in his heart, and it's so much more that I can go into, but when you reigning in his heart, that's symbolic of you holding a royal office. That's powerful right there. I know for myself, I never thought about it like that. And last but not least, I'm trying to. You talked about friendship too, and friendship is so important in dealing with the husband and the wife and the holy matrimony. When we come together, that friendship, having that friendship with each other, that's another powerful thing that even when I was in the Piscine area, didn't have the prophet's teachings. We used to tell our people, and I would drill this in my boys, become friends first. Didn't have all the prophet's teachings and all of that, but I knew that friendship, when you develop that friendship with one another, then you can build on that. But now that we got the true foundation, we got the prophet's teachers now. Oh man, there's nothing that can put asunder into what Allah has joined together. Can't nobody separate that. Ooh, gratitude, God, man. I'm gonna stop right there because, like you said, we can go on and on and on and on. So gratitude for calling me for Islam, peace and love.
And Islam, and yeah, we called you on purpose, sister. And we're gonna go to the citizens now because we know you're gonna set this path on fire with love and holy zeal. So we will be calling you back, but I wanted to call you now because I know you was gonna give us. Okay, yeah, pardon yourself. I was speaking, but like I was saying, we called you forth, but we gonna call you back. But we gonna call on the rest of the citizens. But we knew you were gonna set us on fire. That's what I'm talking about. And sister, very powerful demonstration. Islam, you did exactly what we intended. Islam, I know some more want to come behind that. Where y'all at? Y'all done heard our National Assistant Grand Secretary of the State speak. Now, what y'all got to say about, this is a special question. Who is it that winneth the heart of man, that subdueth him to love and reigneth in his breast? Who is it? How can she come through these 3 degrees of winning, subdue it, and ringing? Are there any Moors who would like to come forth and exercise their fire? Don't be shy now. Islam, brother.
Allah, understood the prophet, understood theocratic government, a world council, our flag still emblem our divine constitution, our angels, my chief, citizens alike, all the Moors that spoke before me, all the ones that will speak after you, after me, and honest to you for this class and another grand message. And when I think about what you're saying, is basically teaching someone how to treat you. And I think that instead of going, and a lot of times people go into, and I'm letting everything fall under matrimony because we know Allah is the one that creates that matrimony. But all relationships under matrimony, a lot of people go into relationships thinking that they know how to treat someone. And in the West, we had this consumer-based form of relationship. And, it really give and take or what have you, if you want to say it that way. But when we're talking about a level of divinity, and another aspect, it reminds me of The Brother of the Third Degree, that book. I remember one of the brothers that gave me that book in the Daily of Crips, and I read that book, and it was a powerful book. I still got I had to make some photocopies out of it because of the relationship between the goddess and him was it didn't what they call it they didn't consecrate their marriage. They were married, but they understand that they have a mission to take care of. But she knew, and she was a part of that same fold that he was on. And granted, it may have been a book that had some, I want to say Masonic teachings in it, but the fact of the matter is that the purity in that relationship of putting the purpose before the pleasures is big in anything. The purpose of going to the gym is not to look, but to be healthy. You know what I'm saying? And that's what does. And a lot of people miss the purpose, and they go there and they do. So they're doing it just for the show. A lot of things people are doing for the show, but when you put the purpose in it, and you find purpose in your path, and your God finds purpose in your path, and vice versa, that elevates the station of both, not just your heart, but your spirits, and puts you, like you were saying, puts you on a whole different ball game. It puts you really puts you among the universe and allows the universe to work within the dynamic of that relationship. And a lot of times when you, especially say your God is not a temple or the government or the law, and what one is showing her, it has to be consistency. You have to be consistent within yourself. And in that consistency, you teach. But a lot of people don't know what a more is. So one is teaching through the action and the everyday conduct. You know what I'm saying? And you're showing the use of the tools every day. You're showing the use of your knowledge of what the Constitution says. You're showing that you have the instructions that the prophet gave you. Those, I believe it's 22 instructions that he gave. You're showing the use of those 22 instructions daily, because you know where they apply, you know how they apply. And it's a big difference between knowing something and being able to apply it. And in it, once the goddess gets on board, or once the man gets on board with that, either or, that enhances the buffering time in between you getting to that next level spirit, which in turn fortifies everything in your material realm. It's just knowing, it's just getting the ones on board. You know what I'm saying? And I think that this even falls into a deeper degree when we're talking about consulate, and this morning. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a grand measure, beautiful demonstration, powerful as usual, and give honor to you for this class.
Islam, and gratitude for the measure. Allah is leading on, and victory is sure. Well, all right. Is there any other more who would like to come forth and exercise their fire? Let the world know you're alive and well, more.
Islam.
Islam.
Good day. Michigan territory. First, I want to rise and give all praise to our Father God Allah, and honors to our Holy Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Honors to the Moorish American government, its officials, its citizens, Honors to the Morse perspective, and honors to you, Grand Sheik, for this class. Let's see, I 4, I believe it's who is she that winneth the heart of man, that subdueth him to love and reigneth in his breast. Short and simple, more what I took from the measure, from what you broke down, and you covered a vast topic here. It's basically dealing with the ish and isha, but there's steps to returning back to that state, dealing with character building, dealing with understanding that we are a spirit and a part of the great God Allah. And we're not dealing with the carnal measures. We're dealing with ones that are putting in the work, that are adhering to the principles, and are standing on love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice more. But that's my short measure. Islam and gratitude for this class, and definitely will be on the playback because we need to take some notes on this one. Gratitude.
Islam. Gratitude, peace, and love, grand man, for that measure. Well, all right.
Peace and love.
Peace and love. You heard the brother. Who is it that winneth? Subdueth. And reigneth. Remember, these are 3 degrees. When it comes to a sister gaining access to that divinity, that love divine. All right, Morris. The floor is still open. Don't wait till the last minute to try to come up in here. Come on up in here now while we still got time. Islam, Sister Cammy.
Gratitude, God, man. Sister Cammy, I'm in Michigan. I honor praise the great God Allah. I honor His prophet, Noble Ali, official citizens, more said and everywhere, especially my Moorish friends. We spoke about different faiths and different beliefs and the different names that they call God, right? And last night or night before, I mentioned that I have been calling them just Father, because Christianity teaches you that Allah's name is God. They don't teach God's name as being Allah. So, hopefully, all is well regarding that. As far as me not calling God Allah for all those years. Marriage union, duties of the husband. Not thought about it because my status sometimes bothers me as far as not. I've never been married, don't have any children, and sometimes it bothers me that maybe it could have been different if different things were happening and if different people weren't in my life. So I regret in some ways not having those things. But if I take on a husband, or if a husband takes me on, or a man takes me as his wife, we have to have the same beliefs and be equally yoked in our commitment to Allah. The union would have to be me, him, and Allah. And if it can't be that way, our hearts being bound together with Allah being the glue that keeps it together. If we're not equally yoked as far as our commitment to Allah, our love for Allah, divinity, things of that nature, we don't believe in divorce. So part of me is afraid of having my heart broken or being with someone that does not have similar beliefs, being stuck in that commitment to life. And if ever I meet someone, I'm willing to take a chance. As a gentleman I'm dating now, I mentioned it the other night, he's a temple sheep. So at least we have the same beliefs. But I don't know a whole lot about temple Moors because I've never been one. So that's, just where I am currently as far as my marital status. And I want a husband, but I don't need one. I need a lot. So I'll be satisfied with the lot if I never have a husband, God, man, in the flesh. And that's just the way it is, I guess. I have this collective to minister to me. And I thank you again for all the nights you all ministered to me during a time of crisis. I know that the kidney disease will shorten my life expectancy as far as being in the flesh, but I don't die. Just transition to soul plane and be at home there too. Gratitude, more strength. Let me speak tonight. Let me tell you where I am currently. And there are those of you that have been in this collective long enough to know that I've had some very difficult times. And I've had some very good times with my more skin too. So gratitude, peace and love.
And gratitude for the measure, Sister Cammie. We give honors to you for all that you do. Praise be to Allah, Islamism without the schism. All right, are there any other Moors who would like to come forth and speak on this subject matter? Islam, Brother Jerry Hamid Muhammad Bey.
Gratitude, National Grand Sheikh of Moorish American Government and its nation, Dr. Jerry Hamid Muhammad Bey of South Carolina Consulate. I want to give praise to our Father, God Allah, give honors to his holy prophet, our holy prophet, Prophet Abdul Ali, Al-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali. We give honors to our Moorish American government and our Moorish American nation. I want to give honors to Act One and all the officials of our Moorish American nation and its government. I want to give honors to all those that have opened up the way for this Moorish perspective international conference call and study session, sponsored by our own Moorish American government and its nation. I want to give honors to those that have spoken before me and those that will speak after me. I want to give honors to absolutely everyday Moorish. As always, Grand Man, you cover a lot of ground. But I think, for me, one of the greatest things that stood out in the presentation is what I would refer to in my own terminology as the balance that you put forth. Because see, we live in a society, or the concept, the basic concept that has been projected, is the male dominance, right, within the relationship, right? And we know that our Holy Prophet brought us a balance in that, because there are things that the goddess brings to the table that the brother does not. And there are things that the brother brings to the table that the goddess does not. So I think that was very, very key factor, especially for those that are listening, that may have a misconception, especially when they hear that terminology that refers to Islam, because there's been a lot of false propaganda, promotion, and advertisement as to how the Moors specifically, especially right now, there's a lot of misinformation and misrepresentation that's being, propagated. So you did a very grand, magnanimous job, right, of clarifying that. And I just wanted to give you gratitude for that grand class. Thanks for letting me share. Peace and love.
Islam for the measure. Well, all right. We got room for one or two more that want to exercise their 5. Come on in here. Islam. Islam, brother.
See. This is Brother Michael Staley here from Selma, Alabama. First and foremost, I give praise to Allah, the Father of the universe, we send highlight honors to his love thought, the illustrious Prophet Noble Ali. May the peace and blessing of Allah be upon his soul. Honors to his forerunner, Brother Marcus Garvey. Honors to all true divine prophets. Honors to the forerunners of these true divine prophets. Honors to my Moorish American national government, my officials, my Moorish kin, which ain't no one. Honors to all Moors here and everywhere. Those who are on the call, those who spoke before me, and those who want to speak after me. That was a powerful message you gave, Sheikh. We're just going to give a quick portion and get out the way. We know that there was a story that was taught to me about a woman who was in a relationship with her husband. And for some reason, he wasn't showing the love and affection that she had. So as she was sitting down contemplating what to do, there was a knock at her door. When she opened the door, the first person who entered, his name was Wisdom. And she said, "Who are you?" He said, "My name is Wisdom." She said, "What can I do for you?" He said, "Well, we hear that there's a situation that involves your household with you and your spouse." She said, "Yes, it is. I'm trying to bring the love back to this house." So he said, "Well, my name is Wisdom." He said, "And what I demonstrate is that wisdom is the consciousness that man is all, that Allah and man are one. And that if you will obtain this wisdom to understand that your husband is a thought of Allah, that he raises his thoughts into a spiritual aspect of himself, that he may learn to love you." She said, "Okay, well, thank you, Wisdom." He said, "But I cannot abide, for I have to go. But I trust we'll meet again." So Wisdom left. So as she sat and contemplated, there was another knock at the door. When she answered the door, his name was Will. And she said, "Well, may I help you?" He said, "Yes, I saw a light on. I thought I would come by to see what was going on. We heard that there was an issue involving you and your spouse, and that you was trying to get an understanding as to why the love is not there at your household." She said, "Yes. Another man came by, Wisdom, and he told me about the consciousness that my husband is all, that Allah man of one." He said, "Yes, this is true." He said, "But if you would exert your thoughts and strengthen them toward the aspect of what you're trying to achieve with your husband, or to exert your will, and just then may unfold that you may gain this particular love in your household." And she said, "Well, thank you." He said, "But I cannot abide, for I'll have to go. But I trust we'll meet again." So he had left. So as she sat down and contemplated the words of Wisdom and the words of Will, there was a knock at the door again. So when she came to the door and looked, she began to smile. She opened the door and she said, "Who are you?" And he said, "Well, I am love." She said, "Before wisdom and will can abide, and that your household could be set in order, you must gain love. Because love is the order of the day. For Allah is love, and Allah loves all things. If you continue to exude this love unto your spouse, that he may learn to love instead of hate, you will have a house in order." So at that particular time, wisdom and will came back. And they said, "Well, we are back because love has come in. In order for you to gain these aspects, love must be in your house." So she invited all the men, and they abode with her for a time. And when her husband came, he asked her, "Who is this?" She said, "Well, this is wisdom. This is the consciousness that man is art, that Allah and man are one. And this is will, that I exert my thoughts to understand, to gain the aspect of this wisdom, that I will be able to attain love. And this is love. In order for us to be able to maintain our relationship, you must first love Allah. And then in loving Allah, you will love yourself. And in loving yourself, you will begin to love me." So her husband sat down, and tears came from his eyes. But she knew that she had told the truth. So wisdom, will, and love abode into her household, and all was well. I come in love, and I leave in peace. So,
Islamism, we give honors to the practicality, of that reality of a measure in relation to dealing with wisdom, will, and love. In all actuality, that's a grand degree, because we know in the West, most of the time when somebody knocking at that door, it's other than wisdom, will, and love. And one, if they are not strong enough, and if they're not looking for the wisdom, will, and love, then they end up going astray. That's a powerful measure, and we definitely took a drawing from that. Very powerful drawing. Islam, brother, Michael Stanley L. Well, all right. Well, at this time, we just say gratitude with a divine attitude. We're going to go ahead and go to our officials. Start by calling on our National Assistant Grand Secretary of the State again, Sister Denjanil Curtis Bay. Islam, goddess. Come on in the room.
Islam.
Islamism.
Islamism without the schism. Islam. Honors has already been given, family, but I give praises to our great God Allah, and I give honors to our holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali, and I give honors to all my government officials in my national grand sheik. I tell you, this, like I said before, this has been a powerful class, and our Moorish kin, thoroughly enjoyed that measure coming from the God man who just has just spoken. Definitely don't take heed to that and listen to the playback also. But the thing that I would like to add too is in dealing with in our chapter 45 and coming from ayat 4, it talks about who is she that warmeth the heart of the man. I also wanted to bring out too about how the National Grand Sheik, how you talked about how there you say it says who is she, that there are many women out there basically trying to win that God man's heart. And like you said, it's not a competition, family. Don't get it mixed up. It's not a competition, but you got a lot of women out there who is seeking after the heart of this God man, and but they're in dealing with the God man. It made me think about too, even though you're talking to the goddess, that God man's heart it's got to be right. He got to be where he got to be doing what he's supposed to do. He had to have the teachings of the great God Allah of the prophet. He had to have these teachings. And when you got all of those goddesses out there, and they don't have to be bad people, they can be godly goddesses. They can have the teachings of our holy prophet. And then you might have some out there who be saying they can quote scriptures and everything. But then when you get with them, that whole thing changed. That's why that's why in our chapter before this was it say don't you rush too quickly into something. And so when I'm thinking about the God man and the different goddesses out there, It might be 100 goddesses out there, but there's gonna be that one who is singing the same song that he's singing. And that's how, out of all the goddesses, like I say, they could be godly women, but it's gonna be one that vibration. He's gonna feel that vibration, and I think we call it that when Allah joins up something together. We call it that twin flame. See, when the one out there for you, it's gonna be something in your heart. You just don't know. You just don't know that you know that this is the one. And you see, when that God man is doing what he's supposed to do, when he has purified his heart and his mind, and he's keeping the prophet's teaching, he will pick up on that, and he will recognize that, and he will know which one is for him. Out of all of them women now, out of all of them, he will know who it is. And the last thing I wanted to share, God man, when you talked about, when we say sowing the seed, into the soil, how we think about the man sowing the seed into the soil, how we think about, in the physical, bringing forth the children and stuff. But when you think on a higher level, planting that's talking about, you said that was talking about planting the seed of consciousness. See, it's a higher way of thinking when you plant the seed of consciousness into that goddess. And that goddess can do the same thing for you. In other words, planting the seeds of the prophet's teaching in each other. Y'all build each other up. And you have guidelines. Well, this one hold that one, and accountable. And you hold her accountable. She hold you accountable. But it's done in love. And like the God man said, see, love is what holds everything together. If you don't have love, it doesn't matter what's to hang it up. Love is the one that's gonna hold everything together. Let me, gratitude, National Grand Chief, let me share. Peace and love. I'm gonna rest it right there. Gratitude, peace and love.
See there? See, they don't know that if your cousin that say it's good loving somebody when somebody love you back, yeah, that was Dendra Nee Curtis Bay cousin that wrote that song. Gratitude, Goddess, for that measure. Islamism without the schism. Well, all right. Let us call forth our National Grand Mufti, Dr. Khonshu Ma'at Heru Bey. You there, Grand Man?
Islam.
Islamism without the schism.
Islamism, that's how we live. Our loveism, our lawism.
That's right.
Islamism, we rise. Praise Allah for you, God, man. We rise giving our thanksgiving, adoration, our worship, and our praise to our Father God Allah, the most beneficent and the most wise. And we give the highest honors that we can give to his prophet. Our prophet, the last prophet these days and times, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, came flossing over the tombstones, Negro colored black, to set us all free. The savior of humanity. We give honor to his forerunner, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and we give honors to his government. Our government, the Moorish American government, the government in which we live. We give honor to the officials of this said government. Our divine ministers, our swift angels and mufti, our royal council, our secretaries, our citizens, the Moorish Americans. We give honors to our flag, our divine constitution and bylaws, our holy Quran, our Grand National Seal, Grand National Emblem, our Book of Fire, the Exhument of a Nation. We give honors to everything that is Moorish. We give a special high honors to our National Grand Chief, Dr. Shadu Amiti Medu Sepsuel, for hosting the Moorish Perspective this evening. Grand class, God, man. We give honors to all of our Moorish kin who have spoken before us, to our Moorish kin that will speak after us. We give honors to you, angels. We continue to give the honors where they're due and honoring all true and divine prophets. And we give honors to our ancestors. They came before us leading the way. We are them today without doubt or contradiction, because no one has the power to change man from his descent nature. Praise the Lord for that. And it's been a grand class. Before we setting the lesson out, praise the Lord for you. And it's a grand draw where we can find that union. And when I looked at, just thought about it, I thought about, who is she? The winneth the heart of man. And pardon me. Pardon me, Lord. Winneth the heart of man, and subdueth him to love, and reigneth in his breast. She is the holy breath. That's who she is. The mother of the virtues and the harmonies of life. The higher self that brings justice, mercy, love, and right. She is the one that is right there in one's heart. As we recognize that the consciousness of that man and Allah are one, and that from Allah spring forth the seven creative spirits, that the other part of the truth, or the art, is the breath. Because first it was Allah, the husbandman, and then he breathed. Then the word came, the logos came. And then everything moved, everything vibrated, and he just moved. And so from the one comes the two. Or from the masculine principle of the one comes the two, the feminine principle, and that principle is the holy breath. And from out the highest plane of ether, the spirit light, that demonstration speak with wisdom. And so that's why she comes and she can subdue or win at the heart of man, because it's love that is powerful enough, as the lesson tells us, to open up the heart and open up the doors and the windows of the heart, so to let truth in. And she demonstrates that truth of the matter. And when the truth comes in to the heart, then that's how one is subdued. Because one is encased, one is wrapped, one is engulfed. And what is best for one, the truth. And so love comes in and reigneth in the breast. So she is definitely the holy breath. She is what is spoken of when one is in harmony with Allah. See, when we add up harmony, when we add up our the base in ourselves and stuck in the lower self, we don't speak the holy breath. We don't bring forth the truth. We end up bringing forth those things that deal with the lower self. The hatred, the slander, the lewdness, the murders, the deaths, and everything that harm. And those things can't win the heart of man. Those things can't subdue one to love, because they ain't got nothing to do with it. The one truly speaks what the realness of oneself, when one gets from behind the falsehood or the mask that we have been taught to wear, whether you call it the code switching, whatever it is, whether you call it being polite, because you don't want to offend one instead of just being yourself. Once you come from behind that, and be the truth yourself, that's where the love can come in, because one has to love you for you. If you're not truly being yourself, then the love that one says they have for you is not really real, in the sense of you have not shown them who you are. And how can they love something that they know not? And so truth exposes one so that one can be loved for the reality of who they are. And that's all important. Because it's important that one is given a choice. This is how Allah has ordained it, that everybody has a choice. And if you don't give one the choice to love you for who you are, then the love is not, like I said, it can't be real. And it's not going to last. Because as you change from who you said you were and expose yourself for who you really are, then things get misconstrued. Then things get messed up. Then one starts looking at you sideways like, either you was lying to me or you just not proud of yourself. And that causes confusion. Allah is not the author of confusion. And so if one's being one with Allah, then you can't cause confusion, and you have to be transparent with one's intentions, and that's when she can come in. That's how she has to come as well to the man. She has to come with being herself, the truth. That's the only way to win the heart of man, is to be truthful about how you feel about him, because there's a certain aspect to the interaction between men and women that's got to be there. And if you don't, as a woman, if you really don't like that dude, it's going to show. The passion, as they say, is not going to be there. The fire that's supposed to be there is not going to be there. And the demonstration of flames is going to die out. And then one will be seeking warmth somewhere else. So she that's winning the heart of man has to be enamored. I won't say enamored with him, but definitely honest with herself that this is what she's been looking for. And when she can be honest with herself and content in her choice, that love is going to subdue that man, because that's like the uniting of the plug and the outlet. It's the completing of the circuit. And when the circuit is complete, then that demonstration is tight and it's solid. And that's what keeps one in there, is the fact that one has found their place. And that's where one is subdued to love. Because it's really the acknowledgement that, okay, we have made the divine connection, and that demonstration is going to run the apparatus. And so as long as that demonstration is plugged in, then everything is well, the circuit is complete. So that has to be out front, and it has to be real. So, like I said, to me, who is she? She's the Holy Prayer. She is the truth. She is the art, that it comes forth from Allah to unite and bring forth those things that bring forth the justice, mercy, love, and right. The harmonies of life, the things that are going to continue to expound on the abundance of love that there is, and that there is going to continue to be throughout the universe. And without her, that breath being set into motion, then you have stagnation, or you may have chaos, and those things can't last, because Allah is leading on, the victory is sure, and as long as Allah lives, man cannot die. So it's been a grand drawing step forth. You know what I mean? One sitting is definitely sitting on the throne, you know, in the heart of man, royally. As I like to tell my wife, you know, you sit on the left side, you know. I sit on the right side of God. Tell her, how you sit on the left side, and we both are sitting right next to God within the heart. And this is how we rule, you know, united by the divinity. So gratitude once again for calling us forth, and gratitude to you, Moorish America, for being here with us and giving us your time, attention, and respect. Love you. Islam and peace.
Islam and peace as well to you, Brother Mufti. You know, yep, one dealing with that degree of winning, subduing, and reigning. You know, if you deal with the letters on the front, the R, the W, the S, and the R, you know, comedically, that actually means wasir or usir. You know, Al-Sad. You know, that's what make the man the king. Yeah. And the God woman the queen. Because she the throne. Ain't no games of thrones going on. Islam. So, all right. At this time, we're going to go to our beloved National Grand Secretary of the State, Sister Shepsut Rakat Ma'at Anpu, Tutankhamun Bey. Islamism.
Islam, can you hear me?
Oh, loud and clear with divine ears.
Gratitude, great class. Gratitude, National Grand Sheikh. Islam, Moorish Ken. First of all, I want to rise, giving all praises to our Father God Allah, giving honor to our prophet, the Ali, the last prophet in these days and times, giving honor to our Moorish American government, all of our officials, staff, angels, muftis, divine ministers, most especially our Moorish kin. Giving honor to all those Moors that spoke before me, all those Moors that will speak after me. Giving honor to our National Assistant Grand Sheikh of Moorish America, Dr. Kuru Jehudi Bey, for opening our meeting according to law. Also to our Consul General of Texas, Dr. Marvin Edwards Bey, for taking registration and reading our subject chapter for the week. We want to give honor to all of our family online as well. It's been a grand Moorish perspective. We want to give a special honor to Act One and also to our host instructor, our National Grand Sheikh of Moorish America, Dr. Shedwa Menti and Mohamed Shepsuel. Our subject matter coming from Ayat 4, who is she? That winneth the heart of man, that subdueth him to love and reigneth in his breast. And I tell you, there were so many keys and paradigm shifts in this class, Dr. Shahid, and gratitude for going through the various words. I thought that it was a powerful measure when you were speaking about the 3 degrees in reference to the woman dealing with winning the heart of man, subduing him to love, and reigning in his breast. And just in reference to the word win, when you were coming from an aspect that the brother has got to be able to resolve or the conflict in reference to his lower self before he can open that door for love divine. That's a powerful demonstration, you know, that's where purity has got to pave the way for love divine. You know, if you are, wrestling with lower self and, still haven't mastered certain degrees, then that's because we look at the level of man and then being able to ascend to that degree of taking upon thyself a wife, etc. So that's a powerful measure there. I also was looking at, hold on, because I was trying to keep up as well. I was also looking at the subdue aspect in reference to bringing, to be able to overcome that lower self and being able to quiet that mind, whether it be anxiety, grief, or what have you. When I looked at how sisters have got to become warriors for the brothers, that is so powerful because this is what it's going to take in this new era of time, as you stated. Our brothers have gone through so much, whether it be from
their own sisters. And we know, especially when it comes down to Rome and what they have in mind as far as genocide and taking our brothers off the count. So we, as sisters, have got to be conscious of the pitfalls and things of that nature, because a lot of times where, and we're not taking anything from the brothers, but sometimes where the brother can't see, the sister can, and be able to warn him as far as various dangers, and vice versa. You know, and so this is the degree of the co-regency where, and when you're able to see the God within each other, then you acknowledge also the God power, which may not be the same, but all of it is for security and defense, not only of the self, not only of the family, but also of the nation as well. The other word that stood out to me was taboo, dealing with that heart being the storehouse of knowledge, wisdom, and peace. And that is powerful. And a lot of times in these lessons, we may have demonstrated particular degrees, but not being able to put a handle on what it actually is as far as the lesson is concerned. So when you're speaking about being able to gain knowledge from that special brother, you know, coming from on high, being able to, as a sister, gain wisdom from that special brother coming from on high, then indeed there is a descent of tranquility. And you are able to, that joy that you receive from receiving the lessons from your other half, then you are able to share that with the rest of the world because of that descent of tranquility. That was so powerful, you know, and I praise the Lord for that particular lesson, because this is how we give also honor to one another, you know, how we are able to unfold this to the God state and be able to solve the fix, and having that trust there, that love there, recognizing the fact that just like you have his back being the warrior, he's got yours. And there's peace and security in the presence of that God man. That's I can't state that enough. You know, it's one thing when you have to be out there being a warrior trying to navigate through the waters, but when you have a God man out there in front, you know, that's also an aspect as far as the Creator is concerned, and recognizing the fact that you're not demonstrating that alone. That's a powerful degree. So gratitude for bringing forth this special class and being able to take it to another level and a different perspective, of which all truth is one. So gratitude more for calling me forth. Much peace and love to all of my Moorish kin. It's all.
And gratitude for those grand measures brought forth from our father's treasures. National Grand Secretary of State. Well, at this time, we're going to call forth our National Assistant Grand Sheik, Dr. Heru Jehudi Bey, you know, so that he can bring us a measure from the treasures. Islam, you there, Sheik?
Islam.
Aku Heru Jehudi Bey. Islam, yes, sir.
Gratitude, Sheik. Ooh-wee. Islam, Moorish America. Let me rise and give all praise to mighty God Allah, and give honors to our Holy Prophet Noble Jew Ali. Give honors to the Moorish American government, honors to Act 1, honors to all our officials. Give honors to our Grand National Flag, Grand National Emblem, and Grand National Seal. Give honors to all Moorish Americans here, there, and everywhere. Honors to all those that spoke before me, and honors to all those that will speak after me. And honors to you, Dr. Shaheed, for another powerful Moorish perspective. Always on high, always uplifting. Islam and Maya, for who is she that winneth the heart of man and subdueth him to love and reigneth in his breast? Islam. And as I was listening to the demonstration, Sheikh, you know, so many, like Morrison said, so many keys you had dropped along the way, and that question kept ringing in my head, who is she? And I thought about how she is the essence of all that is all that is in life, and she is the essence of our heart. She's the essence of our love. Because when Allah had the thought to bring forth this life on the manifest, He picked the soil, and the goddess, my interpretation, and the goddess is that soil, and she can only be purified by having that love within her from the start. I truly believe that the goddesses have that purification within them, that purification of love. They can be nothing but that. It's only when they have been torn away from who they are, as have the God-man. We have that purification of love within us. When those two vibrations come in contact with one another, there's a certain explosion that takes place, not in the carnal self, but explosion that takes place in the hearts of the two. They become one. And within that one, they become one with the great God Allah, becoming that oneness of love. There's so many things that have happened along the way that have torn us away from who made us. You know, that's when I think about this goddess who winneth the heart of man. Oh, she has to have the understanding of who she is. And having, you just don't win the heart of a man by shaking whatever good Lord gave you. You don't win the heart of a man by being half dressed. You don't win the heart of a man by materialistic things. You don't win the heart of a man by feeding him and giving him everything he needs or wants. You win the heart of a man by expressing the love that Allah has given you. A real man is going to look at a goddess with divine eyes from within. He's not going to see the outside appearance. A true God man has that X-ray vision, that Allah vision, that can see deep within one's heart, one's soul. Given that, so much has been taken from us, is any surprise that we're still able to love one another? Is it any surprise that we're able to demonstrate that love from on high? Given the conditions that we've had to endure, given the things that have been stolen and taken from us, families ripped apart, husband and wives ripped apart. There's only one thing that could bring one back together, and that's the great God Allah. The soil that the seed is planted has always been there, always will be there. That vibration that our great God Allah has given us, that flickering flame within, whenever we come in contact with one another, it shines bright. The goddess is that beacon light in the darkness of our despair. She winneth our hearts by showing us the way back to Allah. She that subdues us with the warmth of her care, her compassion, and she reigneth in our heart by bringing us within that oneness of Allah. There's so many things that are outside of us that continue to tear up the foundation of the home. But you can never tear up what Allah has prepared. You can never tear up what Allah has ordained to be. And that's the love that's within us. There's nothing that can separate us from Allah when we realize who made us, when we realize that we have been ordained to be that love. We are ordained to give it, to show it, and to be it. And it's just nothing more precious than the love between a goddess and a God-man, being one with Allah. I give honors to you for this grand class. It reminds me of how, ones can take one totally away from themselves, how a goddess can take, how easy it is for a goddess to take one so far away from themselves. It reminds me of how Allah gave us the power to decipher, to take those things that's within us and find the right path. I remember how it was in chapter 32 in the brotherhood test that Yahushua had to go through, and how the maiden came and sung a beautiful song, playing that harpsichord. Yeah, that. and how it entranced Yahushua, and how he just was thinking about her, and couldn't wait to see her, and how easy it was for the maiden to sing this song, and how that vibration, how good it felt. But Yahushua knew that he was on a mission. He was on a mission to bring the world a love that it was craving. And I think about how I used to listen to, or still do, there was a song by Sade called The Soldier of Love. And during a time when I was in a lot of darkness in my life, looking for a light, Sade came with this song, and it empowered me, because it felt like she was singing to me. She was describing me, because that's what it felt like. I came to love. I didn't come to demand it. I didn't come to buy it. I came to deliver it. And I believe that in everything that each and every one of us has, that love within us, it's not going to just jump out and tap you on the shoulder. It's already in you. Cultivating a love that's already in your heart, that garden that the goddesses are within us. I cultivate that love within myself and my goddess every day. Whatever it is, if it's a smile, if it's a laugh, I try to cultivate it so her heart is full of nothing but happiness, that she can bloom every day to become that flower. The thought of Allah is the soil that He has given each and every God man to cultivate. Islam. So it's a grand class. I mean, I tell you, this thoughts are all over the place, but this I had to go back to the playback. This is a powerful message. You know, we need this message because we have to have that unity of our goddesses and our God men. We have to bring them back home to one another, bring them back home to Allah. And that love that we have within us is the beacon light to find their way back to one another and back to Allah. That divinity of love. Islam, Sheikh, we love you. It's a grand class. We love you, Moorish America. Peace and love.
Islam. And gratitude, brother, for the measure brought forth from our Father treasures. Yeah, that's definitely a grand draw, and the Sister Sade brought forth, powerful measure. At this time, let us call forth our Grand National Chairman, Dr. Akin Pert M. Heru, Tuta Coming Bay. Man, you talking about love. Islam.
Islam National Grand Sheikh. The chairman's on a mission this evening. Gratitude.
Praise be to Allah. Islamism without the schism. But we definitely got the measure of love from above as it came forth from the tribe of endurance. So, we encourage, our family, when it comes to dealing with that droid, that was given by yourself, Grand National Secretary of State. We already know, that Allah is definitely leading on and victory is sure. So we want to encourage our family, that they truly embrace, the reality of, this true embrace, this warm embrace of what we have come to know as Moorish love. This is truly an adept degree when it comes to dealing with that which is love divine. All the time. So we just say gratitude with a divine attitude. We love your family. And we extend the love. January 15, 1929. A warning from the prophet to be read at every meeting. I hereby inform all citizens that they must end all radical agitating speeches while at work in their homes on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must take its course. Any citizen, a group of citizens who hold malicious feelings toward the government of the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the government is not right. The prophet therefore is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the government. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. By order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, we bring forth this divine decree. Chapter 25, a holy covenant of the Asiatic nations. Yea, the children of one father provided for by his care, and the breasts of one mother have given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother's in adversity, assist him. If thy sister's in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. Go in peace, Muslims. Moorish movement, divine movement, everlasting movement. You and I tie. Islamism without the schism. Peace and love.
Being recorded.
Islamism without the schism.
Islamism without the schism, family. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all share this in social media so our people can get some of this love. Noble Brian L., Tyrese Bay, Charles Warrior, we give honors to your family, faithful as you are. Praise be to Allah. And we give honors to Moors, and that's right. And we'll see y'all in Sunday school tomorrow. That's where the guys and the guys of the nation arrive. Islam.
Goodbye.